Ladies and gentlemen, continuing with our Women's History Month program, I'm very pleased to introduce you to Stephanie Iverson, the Natural Resources Manager in the Fisheries Management Division here at VMRC. Stephanie, thanks for participating, and please tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, other things that you've done professionally, and what brought you here to VMRC.
Well, let's see. My name is Stephanie Iverson. I have been with the Virginia Marine Resources Commission now for 23 years. I started December 1, 1992 at the beginning of the mandatory reporting program. I started actually as a data entry operator. I entered all of the data that came in from the commercial harvesters. I did that for about a year or so, and then I became a fisheries technician. After I finished that position, I went into the specialist position, and I've held the data supervisor, natural resource manager position since 1998. So about 17 years now. I've been fisheries manager for the Marine Resources Commission.
You've got quite a breadth of knowledge about how this agency works. My heavens, and mandatory reporting. Stephanie, you were the chair and the vice chair of a national organization that tries to get the states to unify their reporting systems. Can you tell us about that, please?
Absolutely. In 1998, when I took on the position as the natural resource manager, I became part of the Virginia representative for the Atlantic Coastal Cooperative Statistical Program, which is shortened ACCSP. And what the ACCSP came into existence was to, all along the Atlantic coast, design a program where you collected data standardized, where all states, when they were collecting data, they were using the same types of fields, the same types of data, so that when you were looking at data across the Atlantic, you weren't looking at apples and oranges. You were looking at the same type of data, the same type of fields, the same meaning for each field. So that program started in 1995. Jack Travelstead was actually one of the formulators, who was our former commissioner here. And I became Virginia's representative on the Operations Committee, the Commercial Technical Committee, and later on the IS Committee, which is the Informational Systems Committee. Our job was to design this program for the Atlantic coast, and we were able to do that over that time period between, I say, 1998 to 2004. The design was in place, standardized reporting was put into place, and states, 23 partners, 15 states, and the additional partners were federal as well as individuals such as Potomac River Fisheries Commission, which is neither state nor federal, but it has its own jurisdiction. So all 23 partners sat at the table, and we designed a program that would collect data standardized along the Atlantic coast. And it's a big piece of data that was missing, because when you're doing interjurisdictional regional plans, and you're all across, and species cross state lines, which is the reason why it's called interjurisdictional. So if they're crossing state lines, you need information for every state that that species may show up in. And so what they were having problems with is, in one state you collected one way, in another state you collected another way, another jurisdiction collected another thing. So we wanted to standardize how that was done, so that the data that goes into designing management plans would be the best data available. And so that's what the Atlantic Coastal Cooperative Statistical Program's main thrust was. And I was able to chair the Operations Committee for 6 years, vice chair and chair, and I'm still on the Operations Committee now, as well as, like I said before, the Commercial Technical Committee. I chaired that at one point, and actually right now I still chair, after many, many years later, the Commercial Technical Committee. Chairs turn over every 4 to 6 years, and it seems that I came back around again for that.
You've got a lot of expertise. I understand that. Gosh, and that is a lot of statistics. What fish, Stephanie? How is it decided what fish you all are trying to, count and get reports on?
Well, in Virginia, what I love about Virginia is we capture everything. Anything you pull out of the water, you have to report it. We are not species specific in what we target. Now, there are quota managed species, and there are 13 interjurisdictional species that cross state lines that have, specific regulations that regulate them all along the Atlantic coast. But Virginia captures every species, everything that a harvester pulls out of the water, he has to report that. And we are one of the few states, and really the backbone for the ACCSP came off of the way Virginia reports their data. Virginia is one of the first to actually have a mandatory reporting program. Florida was number one, we were number two, and then North Carolina was number three. So our system has been in place a lot longer than most along the Atlantic coast and has been developed for many, many years. So now we have a very exceptional timeline of mandatory harvested reported data from 1993 to now, and that is a significant amount of years of data that that was reported, that was mandatory, and it had to be reported, all species, everything that came out of the water that was kept. So we are, to me, one of the premier states of reporting data and how we report data.
And is that data, do the various licensees, that can be submitted to your operation at VMRC both electronically and paper?
Yes, we have, our paper reporting has been in existence, of course, since 1993. When mandatory reporting went into place, and then online reporting came into effect in 2009. So online reporting is available to anyone who has the computer capability of reporting their data online. We have a very sophisticated system to report your information online. The data is captured immediately and goes directly into the database. Staff here cleans that data and contacts harvesters if we see problems in the data. Mandatory harvest reports and online reports are due by the 5th of the following month. That is a mandatory requirement. If they do not report by the 5th of the following month, they can face compliance issues, meaning that they can be brought into the commission and ultimately could lose their license if they don't comply.
My gosh. You present a report to the commission monthly on which licensees are not following the rules, and I know it's got to be difficult to track these people down sometimes to say, where are your reports? But it has to be done. It has to be done. Stephanie, this has been so interesting, and I really appreciate your participating in the program. And ladies and gentlemen, this is just the first of the interviews I'm going to conduct with Stephanie, so we can take a deep dive into some more aspects of this part of VMRC and how she manages it and the reporting. So thank you very much, Stephanie.
Thank you.